Well, hi there. It's good to imagine you. Jonathan Foust here. And thank you so much for coming here for this guided meditation and Dharma talk. This is not an archive talk. This is a new, fresh one, hot off the presses. Thanks for making the time to be here. Before we begin, some quick acknowledgments. First, to Rita Moran, our mindful movement teacher. 6:30 Eastern Standard, you can join Rita for Mindful Movement, which brings you right here at 7:30 for this experience. You can learn more about Rita's class on my Facebook page and on my website. Also, a big thank you to the Insight Meditation Community of Washington and to Glenn Harrison, our producer, for getting this to you. All these talks are available afterward on YouTube, Facebook, everywhere you can imagine podcast would be. It's probably there. This is all offered freely. I've got a newsletter. I've got a mailing list. There's no access. There are no ads. This is all about ensuring that anyone who's interested can get access to these practices and to these teachings. I'm pretty devoted to that. I've received so much in my own practice, so this is my way of offering back. If you feel like supporting me, thank you. I appreciate that. You can make a donation through my website, all that kind of good stuff. Anyway, that's that. And finally, the next big thing, December 7th, Tara and I are going to be offering a day-long retreat at Catholic University called Choosing Love in Perilous Times. It's going to be a big happening. It's going to be, I think, a very powerful retreat, and it's probably, no doubt, going to fill up. We're just announcing it now, so you can look for that either on my Facebook page, no, not on on my website or on Tara's website, and we'll get you signed up for that if you're interested. All righty then, enough of all that. Let's take a little time for some practice. And the title of this talk is about laying the groundwork for mindfulness, about beginning where you are. Here we are in September. We're kind of starting off fresh. So let's do a fresh little meditation here. If you like, you might take a few moments, stretch out in any way that feels best for you. How might your body benefit from a little bit of mindful movement? Get the wiggles out. Anything you need to do to settle in. This meditation will be, it's going to be about 10 minutes, maybe a little less. If you like, you can close your eyes and take a moment. You might ask yourself, why am I meditating? What is the what is the call to meditate here in your life right now? That question, why are you here? For me, it's got kind of an emotional quality. It may be all about softening in the presence. It might be about reducing stress. It might be about opening to creativity. It may simply be intending to be more awake. Our doorway in practice here is the senses. And you might take a few moments with your eyes closed if it's comfortable for you. You can also have your eyes open, but eyes closed tends to enhance the intrinsic nature of your experience. Take a moment first to notice the sounds around you. Can you experience the sounds as they're happening right now? Can you bring your attention into the feeling, the felt sense in your palms, the fingers and thumbs, any sense of pulse or tingling or vibration? And here again, just notice the experience, the direct experience of sensation. What happens when you relax and feel? And if you notice right now where you feel the breath on the inside, where you feel it the most predominant, what happens when you feel and experience the in breath, the pause, and the out breath? Mindfulness is this quality of non judging awareness. You're neither for nor against what's happening, but simply awake to what's happening. And you might take a few moments before we soften deeper into practice to take a moment just to sense from the inside what it's like to feel the muscles around the eyes. Can you feel the forehead smooth? Feeling from the inside out, the face expressionless. The tongue relaxing and filling your lower jaw. Can you imagine your arms heavy, like heavy drapes hanging from your shoulders? And let your awareness just flow down your arms, down through the elbows, and down through the wrists, down into the palms and the fingers and thumbs. Could you soften through your lower back, the buttocks, the floor of the pelvis, the belly, the soles of the feet and the heels? And from this place of relaxation and feeling, you might sense from the crown of your head down through the soles of your feet. Sense what might relax or soften or let go right now. You might gently now introduce an anchor, that is to say, somewhere in the sense field where you might rest your attention. It might be the sounds, it might be the feeling in the palms, it might be the breath. And now just take a few moments just to sense how intimately you can experience what's happening here. Sound with palms and fingers, or the breath. And for these next few minutes, when you notice your mind active, wandering far, far away, in that moment, you might just smile slightly and invite your attention back to the experience of here and now. As many times as you may notice your mind dominating and moving off into a narrative or story that many times, you can refresh your sense of the here and now, to relax and to receive the sensations right here. Sound of the felt sense in the hands, of the breath. In these remaining minutes, I'd like to offer a few inquiries. When you bring your attention to your anchor, what do you feel right now? What do you notice? Is it possible to feel or imagine what it's like to take the seat of the witness, to be the non judging observer of what's happening? Can you widen your awareness to the field of change, noticing everything that's changing now? And can you let this be? We can think of meditation as three fundamental elements. One is paying attention on purpose. When your mind wanders, you bring it back. This has a quality of re-arriving, of re-relaxing, of calming. Another quality is being the witness, being the open monitor of what's changing. It's more expansive. And third quality is a quality of deep rest, of allowing. And you might explore now for the next few minutes, what is it like to let things be just as they are? Is there anything right now that could relax or soften or let go? Is there anything that could relax or soften or let go even more than that? Notice again the sounds all around you happening by themselves. And sense, if you can, any pulse or vibration or subtle energy in the hands, all happening by itself. Can you feel the breath inside right now, all happening by itself? Sensing what may have shifted for you in this meditation, the quality of presence. And as you're ready, you might deepen your breath just a little bit. Let your body begin to move, stretch in any way that feels good for you. And very gently begin your transition. No hurry, no rush. Welcome back. Many decades ago, I sat my first Vipassana retreat. I came from the yoga world. And the retreat I elected to do without knowing it was in the tradition of S.N. Goenka, which is a pretty orthodox retreat. 10 days, 10 hours a day, pretty intense. And you got pretty quickly used to the instructions that would come from S.N. Goenka. This was recorded talk. And one of the phrases that he would use again and again, he would say, start again. And it was really interesting in the midst of silence, hearing that voice say, start again, and to realize once again, I needed to start again. I was lost in some fantasy. I was lost in some planning. I was lost in some daydream. Start again. The interesting thing about starting again is the only place you can start is where you are in that moment. And sometimes it's kind of a shock. Just a reminder like, oh my God, I'm in the middle of a pornographic meditation right now. Or, oh my Lord, what rabbit hole has my mind gone down? And I'm guessing that if you've ever tried to be fully present, not cultivating non-judging awareness, you may notice how delicate that is of actually being present. What I'd like to talk about here is what it means to lay the groundwork for mindfulness. And there are four things I'd like to cover. The first is just the essential, simple, mind-blowing power of present moment awareness. And how in this practice you have to start exactly where you are and embrace exactly where you are. Third is about the power of intention in your practice. And fourth, some reliable ways to come back when you are gone, when the mind is gone, let's say. Your body's here, but the mind is completely checked out. So, the power of present moment awareness. It was very clear to me how, in my own practice, how little time I actually spent in the present moment. So, I had this great idea. I had this Casio alarm watch, one of those triathlon watches. So, I set my alarm to go off every half hour. One little alarm every half hour. And my practice was hear the alarm, take one breath. That's all, just one breath. Mostly, this practice was annoying. But every now and then, I would take a breath and I would really feel this shift of just coming back to the senses. I did this for a pretty long time. And I noticed once, I forget where I was, but I think it was out in public, and someone else's alarm went off on their watch, and I instinctively took a deep breath and arrived again. I realized how I had kind of trained myself in a Pavlovian way to come back with this little beeping watch. So I'd like to offer a short inquiry. If you close your eyes right now, and if you're driving, please don't. But if you sense right now, and if you relax your tongue, let your tongue fill your lower jaw. If you let your forehead be smooth, let it feel smooth. If you feel from the inside your palms and fingers and thumbs, any sense of pulse or tingling or vibration, right now, what do you feel? What is happening right now? And if you like, you can open your eyes. And that was maybe a 20 to 30-second check-in. But you may have noticed just in that shift into the experience of the senses in the moment, you may have noticed some calm. Maybe not. Maybe a little clarity just for a moment. And here's the paradox in meditation, one of many paradoxes, by the way. Presence is not effortful. Presence, the present moment, is a returning. It's a returning to the present moment alive in the senses. And the truth is that distraction is the norm. We are constantly working with a distracted mind because your mind is pretty much designed to scan for stuff that could kill you. So it's just looking around for anticipating danger. So distraction is not it's not necessarily a barrier, it's just the norm. It's about re-anchoring. That's the practice. About coming back to rest and presence. Because presence does not require effort. It's about remembering. So just like my beeper alarm, mindfulness will grow with small, consistent pauses. Mindfulness will grow the more you pay attention to it. It's an interesting exercise, which I try to do, not all the time, but when someone speaks to me, I try to take one breath before I respond. And there are two things that occur when I do that. Someone speaks to me, take a breath before I respond. First of all, in those moments of feeling the breath, there's a possibility I might shift from reacting to what they're saying to actually responding to what they're saying, actually registering what they're saying. But there's also something, if you do this, if you take a breath before you respond, it kind of injects a certain gravitas into the moment. I think we can all agree that present moment awareness is powerful and it's kind of where we want to be. And then the question is, so, well, where do you start? And the answer is simple. It's just not easy. Starting from exactly where you are is the practice. And over my years in teaching meditation, I've worked with a lot of people who are first timers. And it's quite common for first timers to try meditation and just say, I can't do it. I cannot stop my thoughts. When it comes to meditation, I'm terrible. And I love working with CEOs. I've had the gift of working with CEOs for quite a few years. I love the integrity, the intelligence. Most of all, I love when you give them instructions, they're all over it. And there was one guy in one of the programs I was leading. He was set out to crush meditation, you know. His spine was upright, his chin was leveled, his posture was perfect, his hands were open. And after the meditation, he just said, I give up. I can't do it. I said, well, tell me what's going on. And he said, well, I've got this crisis at work. I can't stop thinking about it. I need to make the right decision because it's going to impact the work and the people who work for me. I have these tensions at home. I'm really worried about my daughter. And I can feel how all this stress is compromising my health. I'm worried about making myself sick. So I took in what he said and I offered this. I said, what if you tried this meditation again? And when you notice your mind kind of cogitating and ruminating, hallucinating outcomes, you notice it, but this time you notice it with compassion. Your intention in your life, I said to him, sounds pure. You want to make the best decisions for your business, for your family, for yourself. And right now you're undergoing tremendous stress. And it was really interesting because when he did the meditation again, it was a very different experience. It had a quality of softening to it. It had a quality of a deep emerging vulnerability. And the truth is, you don't need to be calm to meditate. There's a great story of someone asked a Zen teacher, "How long do you meditate?" And the teacher said, "Well, I meditate for 30 minutes a day, but if I'm really busy, I meditate for 60 minutes." So, starting from exactly where you are is the practice. And if you would, again, a little Zen pop quiz. Take a moment to close your eyes. I'd like to ask you 4 questions, and they all have to do under the heading of what exactly is happening right now. As you feel the breath and as you sense inside, what is happening in your body? Can you locate anywhere that feels unpleasant or pleasant or neutral? Could you find a word or a word or two that describes what you're feeling in this whole realm of sensation and feeling? And what is happening right now in your mind? What's the quality of mind? Is your mind racing? Is the mind busy? Is the mind absorbed into this moment? Is the mind calm? What is happening right now in the realm of your heart or the limbic system? Does your heart feel open? Does your heart feel closed? Is there a neutrality or numbness? And what is happening right now? And this is somewhat esoteric. What is happening right now with the quality of presence? Any sense of presence or spirit? And here's the next question. Can you meet this moment exactly as it is without changing anything? And if you would now take one full deep breath and just track the exhalation and ask yourself, what could relax right now? And then if you like, you can let your eyes open or leave them closed if you prefer. And here's the thing. There is no ideal starting point for meditation. There are certain things you can do to kind of set up the stage for a better meditation, like mindful movement and breathing and stuff like that. But there's no ideal starting point. Resistance will always be there, at least for me. A story I've told numerous times. In the beginning of leading retreats, I would lead the mindful movement, and I told this story at the end of a retreat where I wake up in the morning and I have a thought that says I should do some yoga, followed immediately by the thought, I hate yoga. The days when I could kind of force myself to do some yoga, about 30 seconds in, I would be thinking, I love yoga. I should do this every day. Next day, same exact thing. Why is it that we resist practice? I can tell you why I resist it. Usually there's something I don't want to feel. And one of my teachers, Swami Kripalu, said that most people stop practicing precisely because it's working. starting exactly where you are is really important. And I personally am not a natural contemplative. Sitting still for long periods of time does not come easily to me, even after all these years of practice. And maybe it's because of all those years of practice that it doesn't come easy to me. So I have a lot of compassion for those who struggle like I do. But it's super, super helpful for me to remember that resistance is a natural part of practice. Something in you wants to do the practice, but something in you definitely doesn't want to. There may be something under the surface that's going to take some it's going to take some attention, take some compassion, take some awareness to really kind of work whatever's coming up from the unconscious into the conscious. So the antidote to this is having a strong intention because there's tremendous power in having conscious intention in your practice. I had a little revelation when I realized if I just changed one word, it would kind of affect my meditation practice. And that was the shift from I have to meditate to I get to meditate. Sometimes to help me start a meditation when I feel resistance, I'll ask myself why I'm meditating. And the why helps to kind of refresh my sense of why this is important. Another angle that someone found helpful for her, a mother found huge motivation when she was hitting resistance in her meditation practice by dedicating her meditation to her children. And so it's a really interesting question. This why? Why are you interested in mindfulness? Why would you give yourself to this practice? It may have to do with stress reduction or developing more steadiness in your life, or maybe being more creative, maybe releasing stress, maybe even exploring what it means to personally liberate yourself from what's holding you back from feeling fully alive and feeling free. That's another question, too. Who would you dedicate your practice to? We'll talk more about this a little bit later. The offering of merit, the offering of the benefit of your practice to others, can be a helpful way to refresh your intention. So, clarity of purpose will really help you sustain your practice. And when the waves of resistance come up, and they will, remembering why is going to help you through the challenging periods because you'll go through periods. There are times when meditation is really easy and it feels really it's reinforcing, and other times when it's the last thing in the world you want to do. And we'll talk more about that in a bit. Connecting your heart to your practice, remembering why is really critical. So, cultivating present moment awareness, starting where you are, having a clear intention, these are keys. And then the question is, well, how do you come back when your mind is way, way off in a thought bubble? How is it that you actually tap into the present moment experience of here and now? Again, simple, not easy. It's about connecting with sensation. Sensations are the doorway back to the here and now. And one way to connect with sensations is through your breathing. For some reason, last week, in the middle of the night, for quite a few nights, I started getting leg cramps. And maybe you've experienced these. It's really intense. Out of the middle of nowhere, in the middle of sleep, it feels like my whole leg is just screaming in rage. Chronic, chronic tightness. I've had them before, and I know I just have to write it out. And it's maybe a minute or two. But in that minute, I've got a few options. One option is to panic, imagine it never ending, analyze why it's happening, and scream at the universe, why me? And to try to make it go away as quick as I can. Option number two is to ride the wave. And the best way for me to ride the wave is to breathe. Maybe it's just to feel the breath as a way of staying present to it. Sometimes maybe I can slow down the breath a little bit. Sometimes I can even do square breathing, which is a controlled inhalation, holding, exhaling, and breathing out. But honestly, it's pretty much just riding the breath as a way to feel the peak of the pain and then let it pass. So, breath is a classic anchor in meditation, at least in Vipassana meditation, because the breath is always with you. And if you really start paying attention to your breath, you'll notice how you breathe has a lot to do with how you feel inside. When you are angry or upset, chances are your breath will be shallow, it'll be ragged, it'll be uneven. When you feel present and calm, it's quite likely your breath will be slower. You'll be more aware of the pause between the inhalation and the exhalation. The breath reveals how you respond to life. So there are so many ways to pay attention to the breath. There are ways you can willfully alter your breath that will absolutely alter how you feel. And this is the whole science of pranayama. The word prana in yoga is energy. The word yama is control. If you control your breath, you will control how you feel. There's so much in the science of breath. You can narrow your focus on your breath, use it as an absorption technique. You can open up your awareness to your breath and feel your whole body breathing. So I thought we might do a short little meditation exploring some of these options around breath. If you like, you can close your eyes. And notice right now, as you sense inside, where you feel the breath the most predominant. Is your breath slow? Is your breath soft? Is your breath ragged? And let's try a technique of control. From the system of yoga, this is referred to as Dirga Pranayam or Ujjayi Pranayam, variations. If you would inhale for the next inhalation, inhale to the count of 4, and then exhale to the count of 4. And then immediately again, inhale to the count of 4, and exhale to the count of 4. And now for the next, let's say 45 seconds, use all of your focus to control your breath so you're matching the length of the inhalation with the length of the exhalation. No pause in between. Notice the effect on the mind. And now we're going to shift the breath just a little bit. Here you're going to inhale slowly to the count of 4, but on the exhalation, let the breath just fall out of the body and relax. Inhale slowly to the count of 4. Exhale, let the breath just fall out of the body. And do this about 5 more times and just track the felt shift, track the experience inside. What do you feel right now? What do you notice? And now, if you would let go of all control of the breath and feel the breath relaxed and free flowing. And we're going to explore narrow focus. If you would, bring your attention to the rim of your nostrils. And this will be just for like the next 45 seconds or so. Bring all of your attention to the rim of your nostrils. The breath is easy and free flowing. Is it possible to experience the subtle sensation right here at the rim of the nostrils? And notice the effect. And now we're going to shift our attention. Open your awareness to the whole body and sense the whole body as you breathe. Can you feel the entirety of the breathing apparatus? The belly, the chest, the throat, the nostrils. You may notice you have to deeply relax to feel this sense of the whole body breathing. Notice the effect, feel the imprint. Now, if you can hang in there for one more minute, you can explore the following instruction. Feel your breath completely effortless and free flowing. This is really subtle. Exploring the following question. Is this next in breath shorter or longer than the in breath preceding it? Notice the effect on the mind. And now release all technique and just sense quality of presence right now. If you like, you can open your eyes. So, a few things about breath. If you elect to use breath as your primary anchor, you'll notice that following your breath will help you stabilize your attention. Noticing your breath will help you to track and be more intimately aware of the inner states. Noticing and tracking your breath will actually soothe your nervous system. This is just some of the power of breath as your primary anchor. And as one of my teachers said, the conclusion is don't stop breathing. But I would remiss in saying that meditation is only about watching the breath. The breath is fundamental. It's, in many traditions, the primary focus. But there are other options. And that has to do with anything related to the senses. Your body lives in the here and now. So your anchor doesn't have to be just on the breath. It can be the sound vibrations. It can be the felt sense in the palms, the sense of tingling or pulse. It can be scanning through the body, choosing selective points of the body where you bring your awareness. So the breath can be a powerful tool, but if you find the breath is challenging, you might explore shifting to sound or maybe doing a body scan. So, a few questions in conclusion here. There are a number of questions you can ask yourself. What does it mean to be present? What does it mean to be present right now? What does it mean to meet yourself exactly where you are? Which has another question. What is happening right now? Right now, what's happening in the felt sense of your body? What's happening in the mind, in the heart, the quality of presence? What is your intention for cultivating mindfulness? Is there some way that you could refresh your intention to bring more aliveness and engagement into your practice? Asking yourself why it's important. Dedicating your practice to others. Reminding yourself it's not about having to meditate, it's about getting to meditate. And our third question, how intimately can you actually be present? How intimately can you feel this breath right now? How intimately can you receive these sound vibrations? So I hope you found this helpful. Remembering the power of present moment awareness, how in this practice you have to start exactly where you are. There's no ideal starting point for meditation. How the power of intention can dramatically shift your experience, and exploring some of the reliable ways that work for you to come back when you feel lost, whether it be breath or sound vibrations or felt sense or body scan. Way back when, about intention and the offering of merit, I thought we might close with a short meditation on the offering of merit. This is a kind of a classic little meditation that's sometimes offered at the end of a long retreat. It can be offered at the end of meditation. Sometimes I find it helpful at the beginning of a meditation. But if you like, you can close your eyes. As you reflect on this time that you have given yourself to be present, to reflect on these teachings and practices, we'll reflect on the offering of merit or reflecting on the fruit of your practice. Whatever may be of benefit from this time, whatever you might be leaving behind, whatever you might be taking with you, offering the fruit of your practice fully and deeply to yourself. Can you imagine your path opening with greater ease? Can you imagine yourself more and more guided through intuition, through an open heart, open mind? Whatever fruit or whatever benefit you may have generated here, can you offer the fruit or the benefit to those in your inner circle? Imagine them now, effortlessly receiving the benefit of your practice. You might bring into mind those you encounter on a daily basis. Can you imagine just offering the fruit, the merit, the benefit of your practice to them? Can you imagine if just for a moment, all those you are yet to meet on your journey, broadcasting the merit, the fruit, and the benefit to these beings, a light cast out in front of you? And in these final moments, you might take a moment to expand your awareness, expand your heart to include all beings in all directions. May all beings benefit from the fruit of your practice. And just for a moment, imagine this offering extending out in all directions and also extending to every cell of your body. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I so wish you well in your practice and in all you feel called to.